Across centuries, people didn't just tell stories about strange creatures. They collected bones, preserved bodies, cast footprints, and stored them in museums, temples, and private rooms. Some of these objects were labeled as proof, others as curiosities, many as mistakes. This documentary follows the physical evidence itself, not legends or theories, tracing what was found, where it came from, and what later examinations revealed. Stay with each fact because every piece of evidence leads directly to another that complicates the story further. Number 1. Dragons. Bones too large to ignore. In ancient China and medieval Europe, massive fossilized bones were routinely identified as dragon remains. Farmers unearthed enormous vertebrae and skull fragments, grinding them into medicine or displaying them as proof of legendary beasts. Many of these bones, later cataloged in the 18th and 19th centuries, were identified as dinosaur fossils, including sauropods and large mammals from the Ice Age. The physical evidence was real, measurable, and heavy enough to convince generations. But one famous dragon body display pushed belief even further, leading to the next case. Number 2. Mermaids. The body that toured cities. In 1842, a preserved mermaid specimen was exhibited in New York, London, and beyond, drawing scientists and crowds alike. The body had a human-like torso and a fishtail, complete with visible teeth and fingernails. Later analysis revealed it was a carefully stitched combination of a monkey's upper body and a fish's lower half. The specimen was physical, tangible, and persuasive in person. Its success raised a dangerous question. If one fake body could travel the world, how many others were already convincing people elsewhere? Number 3. Unicorns. Horns with a real origin. For centuries, spiral horns displayed in European churches and royal treasuries were labeled as unicorn relics. These horns were long, straight, and valued higher than gold for their supposed ability to detect poison. In the 17th century, naturalists identified them as narwhal tusks, harvested from Arctic seas and traded south. The horns were never imaginary, they were real biological structures. Yet their misidentification shaped medicine and trade for hundreds of years, pointing toward another creature born from misread anatomy. Number 4. Cyclops, a skull that changed perspective. Large skulls discovered in Mediterranean caves featured a single central cavity, interpreted in antiquity as the eye socket of a one-eyed giant. These skulls were often displayed or referenced as proof of Cyclops. Modern examination showed they belonged to extinct dwarf elephants, with a central cavity actually being the nasal opening. The skulls were authentic, ancient, and terrifying in scale. This misunderstanding demonstrates how physical remains can mislead without context, problem that reappears with creatures still reported today. Number 5. Kraken. Specimens from the deep. In the 19th century, massive tentacles and beaks were recovered from whale stomachs and washed onto shorelines. Sailors' accounts of ship-attacking monsters gained credibility when giant squid specimens were finally collected intact. Measured tentacles exceeded 10 meters, and preserved bodies were stored in museums. The Kraken was no longer pure myth, but a distorted interpretation of a real animal. However, once deep-sea creatures entered science, attention shifted to land-based evidence that refused to disappear. Number 6. Yeti. Relics behind glass. In Himalayan monasteries, scalp-like objects and preserved hands were presented as remains of the Yeti. Expeditions in the 1950s collected hair samples and photographs, treating the relics seriously. Later testing showed the samples belonged to bears and other known mammals. The artifacts themselves were genuine biological material, not inventions. Their mislabeling kept the Yeti debate alive, encouraging similar approaches to another famous hominid claim emerging thousands of kilometers away. Number 7. Bigfoot. Footprints that solidified belief. Beginning in 1958, large footprints discovered in California forests were cast in plaster, creating physical records that still exist today. Some casts measured over 40 centimeters long and showed dermal ridges similar to human skin. While some tracks were later admitted hoaxes, others remained unexplained. The evidence was durable, replicable, and widely circulated. These casts fueled decades of investigation, which soon extended beyond North America to creatures blamed for violent livestock deaths. Number 8. Chupacabra – bodies with familiar DNA. In the 1990s and 2000s, hairless carcasses with elongated snouts were recovered in Puerto Rico, Texas, and Mexico and identified as chupacabras. The bodies were photographed, stored, and tested. DNA analysis repeatedly identified them as coyotes, dogs, or raccoons with severe mange. Corpses were real, but disease altered their appearance drastically. These findings echoed an older pattern of misidentified remains, leading back to humanity's obsession with giants. Number 9. Giants. Bones bigger than expected. Throughout the 17th and 18th centuries, unusually large human bones were displayed as evidence of ancient giants mentioned in texts. Some remains were later shown to belong to animals, while others came from individuals with gigantism. Measurements were recorded, skeletons preserved, and claims published. The physical evidence existed, but interpretation failed. This recurring error highlights how scale alone can distort conclusions, a problem that also affected reports of massive creatures in the ocean. Number 10. Sea serpents. Carcasses that wouldn't fit. Decomposing carcasses with long neck-like shapes periodically washed ashore, photographed and measured as sea serpents. Later studies identified them as basking sharks or whales in advanced decomposition, where skeletal collapse reshaped their bodies. The remains were real and documented, not imagined. Each case reinforced a pattern. Physical evidence can be authentic, while conclusions remain wrong, leaving one final question hanging about how many such specimens are still waiting to be rediscovered.